What's up? Hey, it's the Genesee County Compassion Club show. Welcome, everybody. Coming to you from allpointstv.com. Glad to be back in the studio today. You can see we're going wireless now. Got the technology flowing. We got an awesome background. Got some awesome. Smell that garden. It's awesome. Thank you, John. Putting me in the grow room. It's sweet. We got some effects going down here at All Points TV.
I like.
It's awesome, man.
I like the wireless.
John's over there. Hey.
I like the wireless, so I definitely give you.
This is nice, man. I feel like Madonna. Yeah. Oh yeah.
If he starts doing that Vogue dance, you know he's gone too far.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna do the hand signals. It automatically will give you stomach acid. That's what I've been told. All right, hey, this is the Genesee County Compassion Club show. It's good to be back here in Flint, back in the studios. We're gonna talk today about medical marijuana, like we always do. Let you know what's happening at the Genesee County Compassion Club and what's going down around the country. What's up, peoples? How's it going? Hey, if you have a question or whatever, comment, hey, give us a ring. The number here is 810. Why do we have a 248 number? Did we switch the number?
Well, see, yeah, we switched numbers because we severed ties.
Oh.
And with the old studio.
Whoa.
So it's like
whoa.
That's a tentative. That's a tentative.
All right, hold on, people. We got a new phone number. It's 248-247-5846. Is it on the bottom of the screen right now?
Not yet. No.
Okay, it's going to be coming to you here. You guys can call in. We'll answer your questions about medical marijuana and whatever else you want to talk about, quite frankly.
And also you have your club number there, too.
My what?
The club number?
The club number. Yeah, you can call the club, of course. It's 810-250-0054. Always glad to answer your questions there. And, of course, they're a little bit more available down there. You got Tuesday through Saturday. You guys can give them a call and see what's up. So, hey, we got, man, I'm so pumped to be back here in the studio, especially got the background now. Got these awesome leaves and stuff. I mean, that's so sweet. You guys liking it? What's up? Hey, it's a good day down at the club. I'm glad you guys are there. And last thing that we had going on here I want to talk about was the soup kitchen. You guys rocked it. Special thanks to Matt for always making it happen down there. You do a fantastic job. And for everybody else who volunteered, we really appreciate your help. I heard word on the street is it was packed.
Yeah, the guys on the bike trail, the guys who go there, the homeless and stuff, they say, we tried to go there Friday. It was just too packed. I went,
there you go.
That's a good sign for you guys.
That's a good sign. I mean, you guys are doing it right. So thank you. Thank you very much. Our next one will be coming up in December, of course, so mark your calendars, first Friday, and that's that. I'm not sure what else we got going down there. That's, as far as events goes and so on. Club's been busy. I know we got the masseuse next door, so stop next door to the Holistic Center, grab yourself a smoothie, get a massage, or you can go see the chiropractor on Tuesdays. Dr. Shelter is an awesome man to get you cracked in place the way you need to be so you can feel good and get what you need to do done.
How does he spell that name, Shelter? How's it spelled?
Man, don't ask me these questions.
Because I got a friend. There used to be a guy that used to do a show from here. His name was David Shelter, and I just wonder if they're in relation. So.
No idea. No idea.
This guy's teaching English in some country in one of the Asian countries right now for another year, I think. So he's a real cool show. I don't know if you ever seen the show Changing the Other Mind. It was a really good one. It was on a couple years back.
Oh, very cool. All right. Well, it's not that guy, right? It's not him.
Well, unless his name is David Shelter.
Right. No, I don't believe so. Yeah, go next door. You can see the Dr. Shelter, and he'll get you hooked up, chiropractic back, and all the other good stuff that he has to offer. And like I said, get over there and get a massage. Hello. Feel good. And let's see, next door we got our testing going on. Everything's been rolling good. I know we're doing some maintenance right now, but we'll be back up and running here shortly. And the educational center is always happening, so you can get people in there, let them know, get signed up for the club, all that good stuff. So, hey, all right, that's what we have happening. Not a whole lot, man. I mean, it's fall, it's cold. You guys can shut off the AC now, finally start sucking in some cool air into your gardens, start saving some money. Man, that's the time of year to do that sort of thing. Your outdoor harvesting should be pretty much done by now. If you still got stuff out there at this point, it's probably froze, dead. Don't bother. Just let it turn into compost. You know what I mean? It's done. But at any rate, that's the season. Like I said, it's getting cold out, man. So now is the time. You can hook up those outdoor air vents, get them going, turn off the AC units. You definitely want to still watch it on the warm days in your gardens. And then, but on these cooler days like today, man, it's a great time to take advantage of the weather. So get things switched around and do some maintenance. It's a good time to check your fans, your filters, stuff like that. Make sure everything's rolling smooth through your light vents. You know what I'm talking about. So check those out. Make sure you're not getting condensation built up, stuff like that, as can happen when you're working with that cold air like we have right now. But certainly thankful that it's here for that purpose. I know a lot of you guys are wishing that it's still warm outside and all that, but hey, I say bring on the snow. Let's get it on. Time to go skiing, right? All right, then let you know what's happening with around the state here and so on. As far as Michigan goes, we had the elections here a couple weeks ago, and a number of municipalities across the state of Michigan passed local ordinances. A few of them did not pass. I know we talked about Lapeer missing their vote by just 2 votes. So unfortunate there, but a lot of other cities did have positive results, like Mount Pleasant being one of them. It's kind of one of the fewer cities to the north. I think Traverse City has an already existing lowest level ordinance on the books for marijuana, and these are for recreational. It's not medical. There's nothing to do with the medical marijuana law here in Michigan. It's separate. So that way local authorities have the ability to give like a civil infraction ticket versus a misdemeanor. So not a lot of big changes. A lot of areas say that that's kind of what they already do, sort of writing the law after the enforcement's already happening sort of thing. But, it's good to have law be reflective of what's actually happening. And if that were only true, across the nation and federally, we've got medical marijuana here, 22 states now, and yet we still have the federal drug scheduling, which says marijuana has no medicinal value. It's just utterly ridiculous how we still have this on the books. And, we really need the president to step up here and make the change. He's sort of copping out, saying that, this is up to Congress to make this change. And that's a load of baloney. The original Drug Scheduling Act was done by President Nixon. It was not an act of Congress. And this is something that could be modified by the president. But right now they're sort of playing, leapfrog and saying, well, these guys have the ability, or, the Congress says, it's got to be the FDA needs to change that, or the DEA can change it, or, no, it's the president, folks. So maybe here in this next 2-year session, getting closer to that lame duck time for the president, maybe we could apply the pressure necessary to make the necessary changes and get marijuana rescheduled. It's absolutely preposterous that we continue to have this listed as a Schedule 1 along with other drugs like heroin and methamphetamine and cocaine and stuff like that. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. And having that change would make a big impact. There's a lot of things that are affected by that we still don't realize. And a lot of times, these are things that are going to have big impacts across the nation. So, for example, banking is one of the big hot topics right now with all these businesses springing up across the country. What do? The bankers will not deal with them because it's still illegal federally. And so it creates this conundrum. And, there's not only medical marijuana that's affected by this. There's other industries as well that are sort of getting gobbled up into the whole banking issues that are happening right now federally. But at any rate, this is just one of those things that it would be affected if we were to reschedule marijuana and make this just have policy make sense with reality. I mean, come on, this is just amazing that it's still the way that it is. I was reading up on some of the different events happening around the country, so I'll share with you guys some of them that I ran across. One of them was here, is kind of interesting, is Nevada. The state of Nevada already has medical marijuana, and right now they're currently working, the state is, on drafting a set of rules that would govern how the medical marijuana industry in Nevada is going to go down. So there's a lot of people sort of grasping out there, trying to get a piece of the action, the businesses, if you will. There was a recent convention that was held in Nevada for the industry, the cannabis industry, if you will. And it was kind of interesting. I was reading about this one group called ArcView. Stephen D'Angelo, he's the founder of Harborside, which is a large collective out in Oakland, California. He's also the president of this ArcView company, which is basically like an investment group for future medical marijuana businesses, current ones, so on and so forth. He says his company received millions of dollars of investment during this convention, which was, again, held out in Nevada. So currently, obviously, a lot of interest from big money people. This isn't just your closet grower anymore or your garden sort of thing. This is now becoming mainstream, no doubt, especially with groups like this coming in to play, and with having that sort of capital getting moved around. I mean, this is the kind of money that the group or medical marijuana really hasn't seen before. There's no doubt that this is going to be a continued growth, and so certainly a lot of businesses out there are interested in this right now. And at any rate, that's what's happening. In Nevada also, in addition to that, they're saying that they're trying to get together a coalition, if you will, or a group that will get legalization on the ballot in 2016 for the state of Nevada. So that's pretty amazing. I mean, I think when you see, or I think that you're going to see, I should say, in the next couple of years, a lot of change happen. And we've seen already a tremendous amount of change in regards to medical marijuana across the country, and now we're starting to see changes in regard to recreational marijuana. I think this is only going to continue to snowball, and that within the next 2 to 4 years, I think you're going to see a number of other states fall like dominoes for medical marijuana resolutions in their legislation, and also for continued measures in ballots, such as like what we just saw with Alaska, Washington, D.C., and Oregon. So, maybe Nevada will be on that 2016 list. I know California also hoping to be on the list there for legalized cannabis use, for adult use, of course. And then, there's going to be a whole slew of other states that are going to be looking at medical marijuana. Now, I think you're going to see a lot of those medical marijuana issues get drummed up and worked out in legislative sessions across the country. And so it'll be interesting to see, leading up to this next big election in 2016, 2 years from now, how many of these states make changes on their own without waiting for the measures to have to go to a vote. So certainly a lot of different ballot measures out there that have been passed, some didn't pass, so on and so forth. But I think the legislatures obviously have an opportunity here to make the change necessary and to allow for this industry to grow in their states, or to just even be allowed, for that matter. So pretty cool. One of the other issues I was talking about, it's kind of wrapped around the federal issue as well, and this is separate from previous, but it's kind of dealing with something that we all come across, is homeowners insurance. You have a lot of growers out there that are working inside of their own home, or maybe they're working in a friend's home or a rental, whatever. One of the things you have to consider is, in the case of a fire or loss, if you will, is your homeowner's insurance going to cover you? Well, it brings up some good questions, and part of the answer is based on the U.S. Supremacy Clause, which goes back to this whole federal issue. So here we have a problem, and what we're dealing with is, according to federal law, obviously still illegal. Marijuana, doesn't matter if it's medical, doesn't matter if your state has its own provision. If an insurance company wants to, they can deny a claim based on this Supremacy Clause, stating that, look, we don't have to pay an insurance claim if it's based on medical marijuana or due to a medical marijuana garden. We won't have to pay those claims because federally that's an illegal activity. Even though it should be covered, it's not going to be in a lot of cases. So again, the federal issue is still a big deal, and this is something that I'd be interested to see how more of these localized insurance companies may or may not deal with the claim. If there's any stories out there, I'd like to hear about them from you guys, the viewers, our members. Have you had an insurance claim? I'd be surprised to see if an insurance company was going to actually pay back the medical marijuana that would be lost, but would it pay back other losses? So, for instance, let's say you have a garden set up in a home. There's a fire. It's because of the fact that the garden was there. Is the insurance company going to cover the loss of the home, being that they don't have to because of this Supremacy Clause? That could be a major, major concern for a lot of people out there. I mean, here you are, you're expecting to be covered if you're a homeowner, and if something happens like this, and all of a sudden the insurance company says, well, you know what? You were growing pot in your basement, and we don't care if it's medical, that's illegal, and we're not going to go ahead and pay your insurance claim. I mean, can you imagine?
A few years ago, I was at that THC thing down in Novi, and there were some insurance companies that set up there that they're actually set up to offer that kind of coverage for growers.
Yes.
But no, then again, though, then them to get in that pool of money, they can like all insurance companies, they take like a premium and they take premiums, they
Sure.
invest them.
And
So,
that's the opposite end of the spectrum,
right.
which I think that's good. This is where insurance companies are actually creating policies to cover growers in the case of a loss. So let's say, for instance, you've got a grow, you insure it, something happens, the grow fails, and the insurance company is going to reimburse the loss that occurred, the monetary loss actually, because of the plants not being able to come to fruition, not being able to be harvested, and so on. So I mean, that's the opposite end of the spectrum there, John, where you have insurance companies stepping up to the plate saying, hey, here's an opportunity for us, just like we would with a farmer's policy and guaranteeing their crop. We're going to do the same thing for marijuana gardeners. And so it's certainly, feasibly, business-wise, it makes sense for insurance companies to offer protection. Of course, they're going to, make sure, like you're saying, John, that it's going to be actuated, that they're going to have the premiums cover any losses they're actually going to have to pay out, so on and so forth. But yeah, this is a business opportunity for insurance companies, and I don't think they should be copying out when it comes to homeowners' claims, for a garden there. But it does create a problem, and this is something that you may want to check on, viewers, with your insurance company. And you may feel awkward talking to your agent about it, but you can always propose a hypothetical plan. Somebody, whatever. You don't have to necessarily expose yourself, but at any rate, find out if you have coverage. I mean, that's something that could be very important, especially wintertime's coming. That's a higher likely increased whatever factors of house fires. People have got fireplaces going, candles burning, stuff like that typically doesn't happen in the summertime. It increases the possibility of a house fire, and I don't know. It's just something that you should be aware of. And heaven forbid, all of a sudden you have a claim and find out that you're not going to get paid for what you thought you were.
there's hope out there for that because a woman I was working with for my homeowners policy a couple of years back, she and her husband actually were growers, medical marijuana growers.
Yeah.
And he was like, that was concern that they're concerning themselves with about what happens if, something happens because of the lighting, the ballast, something goes bad, the place is gone. And they were actually working that company, and I don't want to give the name out, but it was a major, insurance company, and they were talking about, well, if this gets more ground under, legal ground underneath it, maybe this would be something you'd want to offer. So I mean, it's still in no man's land because I haven't addressed that topic. But
Sure.
major corporations now, when they see it legitimized more, they're going to probably step up. Of course, you're going to probably pay through the nose initially until more
Sure.
people enter the field and it becomes more competitive. So.
And that's the thing, we have in this industry right now a lot of other ancillary industries that are coming into the business and wondering if they can get involved, like insurance companies, for example. So, but there is still that risk. And it, again, goes back to the federal issue, the fact that anything to do with medical marijuana or marijuana in general is illegal on a federal basis. So, an insurance company potentially could be putting themselves at risk by offering coverage to medical marijuana gardeners because of the fact that now they're taking in premiums based on an illegal activity. So they themselves could be at fault of breaking the law, and so that's something that a lot of companies are not willing to expose themselves to. And this is the conundrum that it places the consumer in is hopefully dealing with a company that is going to be honest and do the right thing versus dealing with a company that's going to take the easy way out and say, well, this is an opportunity for us to not have to pay the claim. And there's companies on both sides of the table. So this is something that I think, again, another issue that needs to be addressed. It's just the same thing with industries out there. You've got owners out there of property. Hey, well, what if I'm not actually the person running the medical marijuana business. I'm just going to lease out my building to a group that does. That landlord is going to end up being or could be responsible under federal law, again, because they're allowing an illegal activity that take place on their property knowingly. And so this is something that a lot of landlords are not willing to expose themselves to. And, it's certainly something that's understandable. If we had a change in federal law, well, then it'd be a whole different ballgame. And I think you'd see a lot more investors, a lot more opportunities, and a lot more growth in general based around this industry so that fear would no longer be there. But at any rate, until that's changed, I don't think anything else is going to change. It's going to be up to individuals saying, well, I think that we'll go ahead and take that risk, provide coverage, or whatever it is that they're offering. So, all right. I talked a little bit about last week about the Florida amendment. You guys know probably by now that it did fail. It needed 60% to pass and only got 58%. Talked about the influence last week, the propaganda campaign for the no's and how it was effective. But, people are coming back in Florida and they're saying, hey, hold on, we're not done. In 2016, you can bet that we're going to be back, and this time we're going to get the job done. They think they've got better chances. The main sponsor, his name's John Morgan, and he's made an announcement already that he's going to get an amendment on the 2016 ballot. It says here that medical marijuana in Florida got 500,000 more votes than Rick Scott and 600,000 more votes than Charlie. And yet they lost because the turnout wasn't what it could have been. So clearly a lot of folks in Florida were certainly for medical marijuana. Seems to me like the majority of folks were, but it wasn't enough of a majority to get the job done. So Floridians, you're going to have to continue to hang on there and wait out a couple more years. Maybe you'll get relief in 2016. We'll have yet to see. All right, here's a little update on Alaska. And, of course, I'm going to try to keep you guys posted with updates as to what's been happening in these recreational states. I know a lot of folks are interested in that. And Alaska, being one of the states that just passed legalization for adults 21 and older, this is kind of interesting. Here's an update. It says, according to Cynthia Franklin, who's the head of Alaska's Alcoholic Beverage Control Board, the bill won't technically become law until 90 days after the election counting has officially been completed, and that's not expected to be done until November 28th. So it's still illegal technically in Alaska. Misdemeanor charges up to 90 days in jail, $2,000 fine for an ounce or less still being imposed up until this change happens. So it says here under new laws, when they finally get into effect, which will be next spring basically, adults 21 and older can have up to an ounce on them at any time in public. They can grow up to 6 plants with only 3 in flower at a time, and the state will eventually license stores to sell it legally. So it says here, smoking or using cannabis in public is illegal and punishable by a $100 fine. So that's basically how it works. So you can have 3 plants in flower, another 3 plants growing. You can possess up to an ounce or less at any time, and you cannot consume it in public. So pretty simple. And it's going to take a little bit for it to get actually implemented. I don't know. It takes so long for that to be implemented. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because it's like what they want to do.
It's not like they got to start printing out cards. Like, here's your legal card.
I know they just
you know what I mean? Like,
well, they don't want to give up that source of basically to penalize you. They don't want to give up that source of income. That's what government is, self-perpetuating.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I've heard of other instances, and actually here in Michigan is an example where there were people that were caught prior to the medical law coming into effect. It was during that time period, and then they went to court and the case was dropped. It was basically a waste of time and a waste of resources for the state or for the county, wherever these folks are at, to get involved. So, yeah, you've got this limbo time up in Alaska for the next 4 months or so, give or take, where folks could get caught in those crosshairs. It's just, I don't know. I mean, it's baloney. I mean, a cop's got to still do his job, so he's stuck. He's got to write out the ticket, whatever. Ends up going to court, ends up getting dropped. I mean, it's just a waste of time. Bureaucracy is baloney. Here's an example of it. You know what I mean? No.
I'd like to know when the government thinks we're actually at a certain age when we can actually make decisions for ourselves, because you can go one extreme and say at 18 you're the age of legal age, you can vote. But you can also say, if you look at the asinine decisions people make throughout their lives, you probably can make a case that nobody at any time of their point of life is going to actually be considered an adult because they keep on continuing making bad choices. So I mean, which way can you go on this? I mean, look how many marriages people go through.
You have to
bad
have like an
relationships.
adult pass the adult test before you're allowed to vote.
Yeah, I mean, and what would that consist of, and how would you evaluate that?
I don't know. That'd be a tough one there. Right now, I mean, they're fighting over whether or not you should even have to have an ID. So I think yours is a little bit extreme end of the spectrum there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But all these laws are basically saying like 18 or 21 or whatever. 18 you can vote, 21 you drink. I mean, it's all arbitrary drawn because some people at 21 are still incapable of making a decision, in my opinion, about who should run the country.
You're right. You're right. I mean, there's plenty of people that are well-aged that are, completely irresponsible, immature, never grow up. I mean, yeah, they're never going to get away from that. Hey, all right, yeah, Alaska. Looks like 2016 might be February of 2016 before they start taking licenses for the commercial sale of cannabis. So kind of interesting there. I mean, the alcohol board taking control. Basically, that was part of the law. It's also an interesting note there. I think where is in Colorado, they took a division of the alcohol board and made it a new one. So we'll have to see if Alaska ends up doing the same thing. Um, so, all right, that's pretty cool. Let's see here. Any other news here I want to share with you guys? This is, excuse me. Just waiting on the internet. It's a little slow today. It's the clouds. All right, this is from the National Cannabis Industry Association's Infused Product and Extraction Symposium. This is actually the same convention I was talking about earlier. They focused heavily on safety issues, both consumer and employee safety. And they were talking about specifically food safety. So they had food safety and alcohol courses included in the seminar. And it says here that they became aware of the need for marijuana-targeted program because cannabis-focused clients began attending their general food safety courses. So it's kind of interesting. I think that's something that definitely could be applied. They're talking about getting this knowledge into our industry so that they can make sure they have proper procedures and so on for food safety. I think that's a great thing. I mean, we have to have that. We've here in Michigan, we have our cottage industry law, which is always in effect, and it helps with the regulation there. And I think it's sufficient. I mean, I don't think that we need to have a further regulation when it comes to edibles in the medical marijuana market. I think that being able to count on having it be labeled so that we know what the ingredients are, and then also having it be dosed so we understand the amount of medication that's in the product. I think that's sufficient. And that's basically what I think anyone is going to be asking for. And so I have to see. I mean, that's kind of cool here. All right. That's about it for the news in general. I don't have a whole lot of more information for you. I know that, like I said, we're going to keep you guys posted as to these states here, like Washington, D.C. We have to see if Congress is going to actually, let the bill go through. So, it's still kind of up in arms there. Oregon, haven't heard a whole lot yet other than obviously their bill passed for the measure out there. But we'll keep you guys in tune. Let you know as this continues to develop. Watch these industries grow. It's always good to stay on top of things. And if you guys have questions or suggestions for a future show, I'd be glad to take them. So give us a call anytime down here at the studios. Always glad to hear from you. Check out some of the other programs here on All Points TV. And as always, I appreciate you guys being here. It's fantastic. So guys, have a great week. I'll catch you next week on the Compassion Club show. Thanks again. This is Jeremy on the Genesee County Compassion Club show. Have a good week.